Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to CFES Brilliant Pathways six-part series, Insights from Entrepreneurs. So far, this is the fourth edition. We've had the first three, an education innovator, one of the first to develop the electronic app, college app. We've had a satellite propulsion system company, a UVM alum, I might add, and then a bat deterrent system, ultrasound system that keeps bats out of wind turbines. So we've covered a broad range, but today, most of those were early, mid to late stage startups. And I think today I'm excited because I think students will be able to really relate to today's guests and what it's like to sort of think about being an entrepreneur as a lot of our students do, and then what that really means on when segueing into the college level, what that might entail. So very happy to have Lily Merchant here today. She's president of the UVM Entrepreneurship Club. She's helped us, CFES, with a number of things already, including a UVM Innovation Challenge, which we'll talk a little bit about. We're going to launch it next year. It's for you all. It's for high school students to submit an entrepreneurial a pitch, and they'll grade it, and there's some scholarship money, and Lily and some of her club members are also been kind enough we'll have some open sessions where if you have questions about budgeting and all these, they're going to be able to help you with that. So we're very excited about that. So I will turn it over to Lily. I do want to mention I'm very excited as well. We have Nicole Eaton. So Academic Research Commercialization Program, ARC, relatively new at UVM. Such a great idea because it really brings sort of connect early stage startups, but connecting UVM innovators and all the talent that's at UVM with students who have ideas themselves. But I will let her give the skinny on that. And then Ben Collins, young entrepreneur himself. Check out his photos on Ben M. Collins Photography. Also Calypso Studios photographer, filmmaker, artist. Really great work that he's doing that he'll talk about because he was the UVM Entrepreneurship Club president prior to Lily, and then is now actually out there doing it. So with no further ado, I will turn it over to Lily.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm excited to share a little bit about some of the entrepreneurial programs here at UVM alongside some friends of mine who are also very involved in similar programs on campus during their time here. So I guess the first thing I can talk about is just kind of how I became interested in entrepreneurship. And for a while, I didn't really know that it was something that fit my interests. I didn't grow up having my own business. My parents didn't own a business, so I didn't really have that sort of relation. What I did know is that I was great at organization and management, and I just really wanted to help other people. And so I found a great fit in helping other people with their businesses. I had some friends who, had duct tape businesses or would do all different crafts and things like that and send or they table at different events and things like that. And so I was able to help with those sorts of things at a young age. And that's kind of what began the interest in entrepreneurship. When I joined college, I was invited to the Entrepreneurship Club, which Ben was leading at the time, from another friend, and didn't really feel like I was part of the group at first. I was like, I don't have a business idea. I don't know what to do. I didn't know if I totally qualified, but what I soon learned is that you can become an intrapreneur, which means, again, that you can help other people with their businesses, that you can help bring their ideas to market, and you can be a support system for them. That's been really helpful in college, where I can use the information that I'm learning in my classes, and I can then apply it to my friends' businesses. I am a business student, so a lot of the things that I'm learning about marketing or finance have been able to be helpful for my students who might be pursuing different degrees, but are still also pursuing their own businesses. So I do want to share that you don't need to necessarily be an owner of a business to be involved in entrepreneurship, for sure. And that's kind of my biggest disclaimer to take away right from the beginning. My role in the Entrepreneurship Club has grown as a member who wasn't necessarily sure if I fit into someone who's been able to increase my leadership positions. I worked in marketing for a while and was able to grow some social media accounts and just keep updated on everything. And then soon became the president as I organized meetings and guest speakers and workshops. I have some photos I can share with the group, but what we do is we're a group of student collaborators. And again, not everyone has their own business idea, but we go and we meet weekly. We share about some different types of events happening in the entrepreneurial community across the University of Vermont and the Burlington area in which we're located. And then we might talk about different entrepreneurial topics, how to start a business, what's a business pitch, how to write a business plan, how can you gain funding, what's the importance of networking, all these different things. And so we've been able to find a community within each other and help each other out with our ideas. We have also collaborated with some other clubs across campus. So there's some sort of hands-on arts and crafts type clubs that we've been able to help promote their businesses through little entrepreneurial markets, kind of like a farmer's market, but for student businesses. We've collaborated with engineering clubs, with learning communities that really care about innovation and entrepreneurship. And then there's a few others. The Catamount Innovation Fund is a group that works kind of like the show Shark Tank, if you guys have seen that show. So students are able to pitch their business to us, and we provide them throughout the semester with consulting and capital, so money, funding for their business. And that's been really great to feel like I'm making an impact on students and able to, again, take what I'm learning in the class and provide them with some insights. So those are two programs that I've been really involved with. And again, I can show some photos at a different time after other people have spoken, and can show some QR codes and social media pages and all these things. But I would strongly encourage everyone to join an entrepreneurship club meeting. If you have anything business related at your school, go for it and see where you can fit in, because I truly believe that there's room for everyone. I can pass along to Ben or Nicole here to kind of share about their experiences and the things that they've been involved in. And I'm sure I'm here for questions and everything else later.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, either Nicole or Ben, feel free to hop in. I really like the idea of Lily, you don't necessarily have to be a full-on entrepreneur to be involved like you are. That's something that hasn't come up yet, and I think a lot of students would find that appealing. So thank you for mentioning that.
I guess I could chime in. Hey everyone, I'm Nicole. I am a senior public communication major, so I'm not in the business school at UVM, but still heavily found myself in entrepreneurship, which is also, I think, really special. So yeah, similar to Lily in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I had was a passion for communicating. And so I knew I wanted to communicate, but I didn't want to go into news. And so I went to UVM doing communication because that's kind of the only path that I knew to take. And then found myself start and join this new program that Ben, you were heavily involved in starting it as well, but the ARC program, which stands for Academic Research Commercialization. And so I started that because I didn't really know what to do, but it was in the startup field, which I've never heard of that word before. I was a sophomore at that time, so I just did it and fell in love with, similar to Lily, just not really doing my own idea, but just helping others. And so I was in that program as just a team member, and throughout the years worked my way up to lead teams and then eventually direct the program as a whole. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. So what the ARC program does is we commercialize technology out of the university. And so we are a group of students who consult for professors and researchers at the university. So professors have to do a professorship, which is basically they have to do 25% research. And so basically, so many researchers at all universities or so many professors at universities do a lot of research. And they have these amazing ideas, but because they're professors, their ideas just sit on the shelf because they don't want to be a business person. And so that's a huge problem that we found in the ARC program. We were like, okay, well, how can we pay students and how can we give students credit to be entrepreneurial and get into the startup space and utilize co-working spaces? And so that's kind of how the ARC program was born. We were given some money to prove ourselves. And so we worked with an app that came out of UVM. And then we've just been adding technologies each year. So that's kind of what we do. I think, so to give you a context of I guess, the realness of the program. We started out with $25,000 to hire people, and then we've now generated over 1.5 million, and the program's only been here for 2 years. And so that just kind of gives you the context of students can do real things. And that's kind of when I found out, like, whoa, I don't need to have this brilliant idea. I don't need to be the Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos to make a real difference and like get money. And you can be a student and be successful. And so I think that's what really changed my mindset, and how important student voices are and how important passion is over knowledge. You learn by doing. And so that's something that we really take pride in the program.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It's been, especially in the capital that's been raised, and the passion behind the capital. I mean, what a great concept, an opportunity for the students to be able to partner like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, feel free to hop in. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. My name is Ben Collins. I just want to preface, my internet's been a little bit shaky. Every couple minutes I get a little drop. So hopefully I can make it through this. But yeah, I'm Ben Collins. I am a filmmaker, photographer, work in marketing, and yeah, run my own couple businesses. I got my start doing filmmaking photography when I was younger. In middle school, I got a GoPro for Christmas and started filming my friends skiing and doing a bunch of like action sports, jumping on the trampoline. And very quickly, I wasn't very good at the skiing or the tricks or anything. So I kind of got put the camera in my hand, and my friends were like, film us doing it. And I was like, all right, okay. But I very quickly fell in love with being behind the camera and started going on YouTube and watching all these tutorial videos, how to light, how to do audio, how to edit, everything like that. And then I got my first DSLR around high school time, and really like began to understand what making money and making a career out of filmmaking and photography would look like. So when I began to like learn and understand those things, I started to kind of shift my work in that direction and begin to start to learn from certain people in my area who are doing that type of thing, and then continue online just learning about business and everything. So when it came time to come to UVM, I knew that I wanted to go into business, and I knew I wanted to do something with entrepreneurship. My family has a background in entrepreneurship. I think nearly all of my aunts and uncles are running a business or very like in startups somehow. And so it's very much in my family. But when I got to UVM, I joined Entrepreneurship Club, as Lily and Nicole have talked about. And that freshman fall, I was elected president. And the time at UVM was pretty rocky because it was my sophomore year. That was 2020, and the pandemic hit. And so I was kind of left sitting there, like, what do we do with Entrepreneurship Club from here? We went virtual for the spring semester and then tried to figure out what it would really look like in 2021. And we kind of hit this like stagnant period, whereas we were doing weekly meetings on Zoom, and we could get some guests in, but really overall like engagement was starting to get difficult, and like getting students involved was becoming difficult. And then we had a meeting with the new vice president of the department that Entrepreneurship Club falls under. And they were talking about what Nicole was talking about, where how there's so many technologies coming out of UVM that there really was no viable business options for those technologies, because professors didn't want to do them. But UVM really wanted to push that forward and show the country what UVM was doing, and show the economic viability of those technologies. And so that's when the leadership of Entrepreneurship Club at the time came up with the ARC program, which I won't go into now because Nicole covered it. And so, yeah, it brought some new energy to Entrepreneurship Club and to entrepreneurship at UVM in general. which was really fun and really exciting to be a part of. And so fast forward a couple of years, I graduated UVM last year, and I went full time with my photography and filmmaking that June. And it's been definitely a rocky road again. It's I will say entrepreneurship when you get into the real world is very much ups and downs. There's times where, months where there's so little money coming in, and then there's months where it's like crazy, awesome business doing really, really well. And it really it's really a roller coaster, and you just got to ride the waves, is what I'm learning. Um, so yeah, my main job is filmmaking and photography. I kind of have two separate businesses as mentioned, where Calypso Studios is more the filmmaking side, and that's doing a lot of content creation for sustainable brands and a lot of business to business marketing. It's going to businesses and seeing what their goals are and how content and video or photography can accelerate their trajectory towards their goals and to meet those goals. And my Ben M. Collins photography side is more of like a personal approach. It's a bit more artistic, and that deals with photographing a lot of musicians, weddings, and brand photography, such as like clothing lines or restaurants and things like that. So it's kind of a couple different routes and avenues. And the distinction between the two, there's a lot of crossover between the two, but the distinction is more of a marketing thing, to distinguish the two areas, and that makes it a little bit easier to communicate with clients that way. But yeah, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, it's interesting. It raises this questions come up at every one of these webinars so far. Is students will say, well, if I'm not confident enough or sure when I get older to just go out and just start a business, like you've done it, you've taken the leap. There's ups and downs. There's concern about that. And then so the question is always, should I work in the industry I might be thinking about launching something in first to sort of get to know it? Should I just jump in and learn as I go? I guess it depends on the person or the industry, I'm guessing.
It definitely certainly does. I mean, I was doing commercial photography and video all through college and the later half of high school, and I had a few internships in the field through college as well in the summer times. And so there's definitely a certain level of experience that I feel like jumping off into something. And it totally, like you said, it totally depends on the industry. I doubt that someone with no experience could jump into like a scientific field and do rocket science full-time startup straight out of school or something like that. It's a little bit different. So industry plays a role, experience plays a role, but ultimately I think it was Nicole that said like passion beats out knowledge. It's totally viable, it's totally doable, and if there's a will, there's a way. I think that statement really, really holds true.
Well, the internship piece is a great answer. Like you said, that's a place to learn it where you get a little experience without jumping in when you graduate. And maybe Nicole with ARC too, that, students being able to work in that space before they graduate sounds like great experience to me before you're getting out.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, also what isn't talked about a lot is just the power of networking and connections. And so from ARC, when people graduate from the program, they always say, yes, I learned a lot, but the people I know now completely changed where I'm going. It's who you know. And so like Lily said at the beginning, if you have opportunities, even if the opportunity doesn't seem perfect and it doesn't fit your ideal internship, job, or passion, go and do it, because you're going to meet people and they are more than happy to help students out. And so that is just the biggest takeaway that I have gotten from the program.
Yeah, the networking piece is fun. It's what we teach, these essential skills, soft skills, but we talk about essential skills. And the networking one, it's all, the students are always like, it really is kind of who you know, right? Like that matters a lot. And the students are like, well, shouldn't my skills matter? Like, shouldn't I get it on my own merit? We're like, yeah, but it's good to know people as well. That life lesson.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of reality. I have some other questions too, but I think it'd be great, maybe Lou, if you wanted to talk a little more about the Entrepreneurship Club, maybe show some slides that you had mentioned.
Sure. Yeah, I can share my screen here.
Be great. How many people are in the club, Lily?
It varies all the time. I would say like a solid 15 to 25 regulars. But we have a lot of students that are trying to show up to clubs for other engagement purposes for different classes. Maybe that's a requirement. And so sometimes we'll have a guest speaker that's really intriguing, or they'll have that class requirement to fill and they'll be like upwards of 60 plus. So it really depends week to week. But I mean, we're open to everyone. And that's essentially the whole point, is that we want students from every major, every experience level in business or not, really just any interest to show up and feel like they can be part of something bigger, and just people who are ready to learn are the people that we want to invite. So yeah, for sure. I'll share my screen and just go through some photos here. I'll keep it quick, but so I think you can all see the screen. This was a slideshow that I have used for a different presentation, but I'll point out what is and isn't relevant. But again, like, this is a program for all, and that's something that I wanted to highlight right in the beginning. This is some leadership from the past semester. This is now changing as we just had elections for the fall, but you can see these faces around UVM if you continue or are interested in coming to UVM. You can see that everyone is welcome here. We meet regularly, and this is in a workspace called VCET, the Vermont Center for Emerging Technologies. And I'd say all our panelists here are very familiar with it. And we can see Ben here in this photo as well, and myself. But this is a place that has offered free memberships for Entrepreneurship Club students across campus to be able to participate in this shared workspace with other entrepreneurs in the Vermont area. And a lot of people are here. And again, like, this is the importance of networking, is being able to show up and work here, not just because it's a cool place and it's decorated nicely, but also because you can meet a lot of awesome people. And, there's chances to learn about entrepreneurship in workspaces like this. And there's a lot of programs across Burlington that have partnered with UVM, and we have more partnerships hopefully on the way, and people I've been communicating with, so that people can reach out and help college students as they figure out their entrepreneurial journey and want to learn more. So we can see some examples of some of our meetings. We've had different workshops on a few different topics. We've had some guest speakers of various industries, and we've had a lot more this past semester and past year. Every year we have an annual pitch competition, which we just had last week. And so students are able to win money based on a few different prize categories, but they pitch an idea that they have for a company. And there's a panel of judges, local community members, and kind of industry experts, and they're able to get feedback and, practice their presentation skills and all the things that we may see like on Shark Tank. Again, having some like student markets where we can promote other student businesses across campus, having tours of different buildings like VCET and many others in the area, going on little field trips, things like that. So we try to vary our meetings and do lots of fun things and make sure that it applies to people of different interests. Here's some more photos of VCET I can run through, but it's a cool area. These are some photos from our pitch competition last year. I have to upload it with photos from just last week, but you can see some awesome awards based on being ready to enter the market or being the people's favorite. We have a People's Choice Award, some other fun awards like that. So there's different cash amounts for each of these awards. You can see us tabling, students presenting some different ideas for a fun little brainstorm activity we had. Then some student businesses that have come and gone. We see Ben here up in the upper right corner, Ben M. Collins Photography, and others. Little things just like having a little waffle deli or customizing shoes or making custom paintings. The Social Reef was a marketing consulting platform. So our friend Sarah ran this company by herself where she helped other businesses with their websites and things like that. So there's so much more. There's tech and woodworking and little tables for dorms, so many things. And you can tell from all different industries and kind of different levels of knowledge. Testing out some waffles for that waffle business. And we had some more goals that we wanted to talk about and a lot of things that we fulfilled. So we've had a showcase with the ARC program a few weeks ago where the ARC students were able to pitch the businesses and the technologies that they're working with for the semester. So that was really great for our entrepreneurship club students to see and meet the students at the ARC program. And the CIF program is the Catamount Innovation Fund program again. So kind of like that Shark Tank accelerator launch program. So Entrepreneurship Club has been able to hear from those students and get more information on that program itself as well. We're hoping on expanding some mentorship programs. So maybe people from Visa and other community members would be interested in partnering with our students, and lots of different cross collaborations with Career Center and other programs across campus, different clubs, things like that. So I have some QR codes if you wanted to kind of follow. This was more for people who'd be interested in helping our students. But for those who are interested in following social media, I have some other slides here. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. I have some slides. This is for our GroupMe and our email list, but this is probably most relevant to you, our Instagram. So you can see some more photos of events and kind of follow us in live time. This is our Instagram, UVM eClub. We also have UVM CIF, which is the Catamount Innovation Fund. And then there is the ARC program Instagram as well. So you can see what students are up to. And we just have more programs growing each day across our campus. I don't know if this segues well into the Innovator Challenge that you want me to share about, but.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, so myself and one other student who actually is also on leadership with the ARC program have kind of been recruited to be on this task force, kind of building this big program that is unnamed as far as I'm sure right now, but it's an Innovator Challenge. And this is going to entail students participating in calls like this for a couple of months, learning about different areas of entrepreneurship and business, and then submitting an application to pitch a company or an idea that they have. And they can do this by themselves or with a partner, possibly a team. These are all details that are being worked out as we go. But the idea is that students would then be able to pitch in a final round here at the University of Vermont. They'd be able to see the area, be able to have some networking opportunities, and again, share their business for some awesome prizes. And one of these prizes for the first place team would be a full ride, free tuition to the University of Vermont. So that's a really huge prize that you wouldn't want to miss out on. And something that we want to work on promoting within a bunch of different high schools across not only the country, but also the globe. We want this to be a global sort of initiative. So I don't know what other details you want me to share, John, but this is something that we've been in collaboration with through SFES.
Yeah, no, that's great. And we appreciate it. I mean, it's the amount of work UVM and you've done already on it, or watching the website and watching them develop it. I think it's going to be really good. And the worldwide aspect, I think, makes it really interesting just to see ideas from different countries, from young students and what they'll come up with. And then you're kind of helping them, guide them. And just kind of to riff off that, what would be some things that Nicole, Ben, Lily, any of you think, if you were to talk to high school students, the ones listening now when they share it with their classes, what are some things they could work on now, just skill set wise, just, whether it be communications, or what are some things that they could work on as a sort of a future entrepreneur now?
I would say some pretty crucial skills. Oh, hold on one sec. There's fighter jets flying.
You in South Burlington? Yeah.
Yeah, my office is right underneath the landing path for the F-35 fighter jets. Some crucial skills I would say is just like being able to communicate is probably the top #1 skill. I think if you can communicate, that is applicable across any industry, across anything you could ever do. It's in your personal life, in your professional life, anything. So I just learning some effective communication, how to have a difficult conversation, how to, speak to someone who might have a little more responsibility than you, or be a little bit like higher up in an organization, things like that. I would also say don't be afraid to reach out to anyone in any industry you might be interested in. I think largely when I've reached out to someone that I've wanted to learn from or talk to, or just like, get to know, whether that's at a company I want to work for or work with or anything like that. Usually, especially if it's a younger person, they're almost entirely always flattered to have someone reach out to them and to pick their brain for a few questions. So that's a very great approach. And one thing that I'd also recommend, because it's been working really well recently, is LinkedIn. Just like create a profile. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Put your experiences on there and just start to, pick around there and see what's out there when it comes to information and things like that. Because LinkedIn is a really, really powerful tool. And that can go along with what I said earlier, which is like, chatting to people and getting to know a little bit more about the industry you might be interested in.
Yeah, and communications, that in all of its forms, right? It's such a, we have professors say that students technologically really good at communicating, but then sometimes need to work on face-to-face interpersonal, kind of all those things together, I'm sure are pretty helpful things. And I'm assuming, Nicole, like for some of the students that work with professors, that's the first time maybe that they've worked with an adult who's created something on that level, and just kind of to interact with them is probably, eye-opening and helpful.
Yeah, totally. And the number one thing that I was told when I joined the program was, don't think of yourself as a student, think of yourself as an entrepreneur. Which that mindset was really interesting, because initially, being a student is really cool and it's awesome. But when you talk to professors or when you're networking, don't go down to the level of, I'm just a student. You have to have the mindset of, I have the potential to change the world. I can do anything. I am an entrepreneur. I have this passion, and that's all that matters. And so I think, when I went to these networking events, I was scared because I was like, I have no experience. I'm just a student. I am, at that point, 19 years old. No one cares what I think. But if you switch the perspective to, okay, entrepreneur just means, rolling with an idea and seeing what you can make of it. And so if you are passionate about something, you are an entrepreneur and you can make that happen. And so just changing your perspective to, I'm just a student, to, you are on the same level as so many other people, because somebody could be the age of 60, but have an idea just as good as yours. It doesn't matter your age. And so that's something that it's really good to just change that mindset and have confidence in yourself.
That's awesome. Yeah, we talk a lot. We have webinars on various topics, and we talk a lot about sort of imposter syndrome. It comes up all the time, and am I ready for this job? And you just gave a really great answer to that for a student to think, I do have a lot of skills, and they probably have a lot of skills that some of the older professors might not have. They can help each other depending on the topic. A two-way street, I'm sure. This segues into someone else had asked me this question that I wanted to ask you all too. It's a personality question. So you kind of the introvert, risk taker, kind of what kind of personality does it take to be an entrepreneur? And the assumption is, you've got to be this, world beater, and you can build this whole organization and do all these things, but you can be an entrepreneur. You can be, you could run it and have that risk-taking kind of personality, but you don't have to. I mean, Lily, you had mentioned sort of being part of a team, not necessarily launching it, although you could do both. Any thoughts on just personalities? And if you have a certain one, maybe you should work on skills to become a little bit more like that, or do you just, feed off your sort of innate strengths?
Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot of different ways I can phrase this. I think there definitely is a stereotype that you need to be the super extroverted, you need to have all these genius ideas, you need to be the one that makes the decisions in the room. But I think overall, the biggest quality is that you need to almost be selfless in a way. like you're trying to think about how you can help others. So, set the ego aside and just be someone who can help. And this is what people want to see in businesses in general. They want people who can help them with problems. And I think that's been super beneficial to me, again, because I didn't want to pursue something on my own, but I had a willingness to help other people. And I did know my own strengths. So again, you said something about working off your own strengths. I did know that I was great at communicating, again, organizing. I could, lead a group, and I could help people with some basic marketing and connecting to other people. And, that's again, the importance of networking, but playing off of that strength, I was able to help other students through the Catamount Innovation Fund, connecting them with other students I knew across campus, other organizations across the state. And so I think that's where the importance of selflessness comes in there, is that you might connect people and you might help people with all these different things. And it's not about necessarily receiving something back, more about being there as a support system for someone who's starting this new journey for themselves.
Yeah, it's great. It's almost, you kind of almost flipped it in a way. Like I should be running this. I'm doing, I want to make money. I want to do these things. And you're kind of saying, well, being selfless is a huge piece to this success.
For sure. And for skills, I mean, in general, presentation skills, they're used in everything, in class, in group projects, at work. And entrepreneurship is a great field that really forces you to push that skill. So I saw a question in the chat about like entrepreneurial programs in high school, things like that, or digging deeper into entrepreneurial interests. This isn't necessarily relating to entrepreneurial interests, but like take a public speaking course, or, put yourself in a position where if you have to do either an essay for a class or a presentation, choose the presentation. Don't always take the easy way out there if that seems like a harder decision. But you're going to feel more comfortable with yourself, and you're going to find your own style of speaking, and it's going to make things easier in the future for whatever path you choose.
Yeah, we had somebody mention too, one of the previous entrepreneurs said that he was really good at the technical side, and the STEM side, whereas the other person was a marketer. So they co-founded this and both brought different skill sets, and it worked really well. So
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would also echo just like what you said, John, partnership is everything. You can't do it alone, so if you are an introvert and you're like, oh my gosh, I do not get energy off of other people. I work best alone and I don't want to present. As Lily said, get out of your comfort zone and present. But at the same time, if you are really good at doing, this on the tech side in your room, just like grinding away, partner with somebody who likes to communicate, utilize that person. What I've learned is, I was running a tech company for a while, and I know nothing about the tech, but I asked questions and I let the techies, do that work, and we work together. And so just to echo what you said, John, like partner with people, and partner with people who you like and who you want to be friends with too. That's also really important.
Yeah. And how about like if let's say two individuals like that got together and they're thinking, well, we've got this great concept, we want to do it. How about the reality of the funding for it? I mean, finding capital. I know it's huge, and I suppose it depends on what what the focus of the organization is or the company. But any ideas or thoughts on? I think that's one of the biggest fears for students are like, I don't know anybody with money, and like how am I going to even do this? And there's a couple of innovations, there's a few funds and organizations right in Burlington alone, which do that. But any ideas on sort of I mean, you're in the middle of it, Ben. You're probably, you're using all your resources and you're trying to make it happen. Any thoughts on how to get some support in that way?
I mean, I can just speak for myself, and just say accelerator programs. Those are huge. We in the ARC program, we didn't really have funding at the beginning. And so all we had were accelerator programs. And those were programs, for those who don't know what accelerator programs are, basically it's an opportunity where you can come in with an idea, and then you have mentors and you have curriculums, and it's kind of an intensive. It can be as short as a week, it can be as long as 6 months. But we just entered those, and at the end there's a bunch of different prizes. But as I said earlier, networking is everything, and if one person hears your idea, they'll recommend you to another person and maybe another opportunity for funding. And so I would say just plug yourself into those programs. Most of the time they're free to apply, and with the idea phase startups, a lot of the programs don't ask for any type of equity or anything. So yeah, I would say just applying to those. There's so many for students. If you go onto the American Made Network, that's a really good network to look for programs. A lot of people are doing like ESG and sustainability right now. And so the Department of Energy has a lot of grants open for students. And we're really close to Boston. And so what we've realized here in Vermont is going to those Boston Accelerator programs, a lot of them are remote, are really helpful too. So utilize your location being here, but also just know that there are free programs. And it doesn't have to be, oh, we need to find this one angel investor who has a lot of money and who can just give us money and that's it. Or, oh, we can only get money from family and friends, but my family doesn't have money to invest, so this isn't going to happen. It's like, no, just apply it to programs and talk to people and you'll find a way.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I used to work at UVM Communications, and they would constantly want us to write stories about Burlington becoming this tech hub, sort of the Silicon Valley of the East Coast. And I kept saying, it doesn't quite feel like it's there yet. We wanted to make it like a legitimate. I kind of feel, I actually read a piece recently that talked about that. It kind of feels like it's legitimately becoming, on a smaller scale, given all that's here, Hula, some of the startups, Benchmark and Beta, like it's a good area, correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like a really legitimately good area to perhaps start a business.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I know, Ben, you've been in it, Lily, you have been too, but yeah, I mean, being in this community is amazing with all the resources and all of the care that people in Vermont have. It's truly amazing. I'll let you guys elaborate more.
I was going to mention one thing that you can do is every state has a small business development center, and so you could reach out for help on your business and ideas on what needs to be changed, or again, funding, connections, those sorts of things. So I would do some research on your small business development center. Something that's been really helpful for college students specifically is there's a member at the Vermont Small Business Development Center that is really just targeting college students herself. So this ambassador is working one-on-one with college students and their businesses in conjunction with a bunch of other programs around the Burlington area to just help them again accelerate their business. So there's lots of different organizations like that. And I would agree that other people see Vermont and Burlington is becoming more entrepreneurial. Nicole and I just last week were at this big announcement for UVM where the Myers family is providing a huge donation to fund student businesses over the next 10 years in like a giant pitch competition. So students with this program, it's called the Myers Cup, would be able to earn over $200,000 for their business, and then are expected to pursue their business once they graduate here in the state of Vermont for at least the first year upon graduation. So if you know that you want to pursue something like this, UVM could be a great fit, as just more programs, more challenges, more initiatives are growing here, including the one that we're working on with CFES and the one I just mentioned, the Myers Cup. And so I think, again, a lot of people see potential here, and there's more and more opportunities opening up for college students.
Yeah, that's exciting. That Myers Cup, especially. It used to be, and it still is to some degree, the 70% or what students, whatever it is, from out of state, they'd come here, have a great experience, and then often go back to where they're from or to a city. But it does feel like there's a little bit more of a it's attractive enough to perhaps stay here and pursue some of those things. And obviously, Ben, you've done it. You're doing it right now. And we're coming up a little bit on time, but this might be one for you, Ben, too. But one of the things we like to do is give a little bit of a reality check of what being an entrepreneur is, because a lot of students will be like, I think it's like 60% now nationwide are saying, I want to work for myself. Now, that could mean a variety of things. We have kids say, I want to be a YouTuber. There's various ideas they have now, and then there's sort of the reality. We like to not crush dreams. We're in the opposite business of that, but we do like to give them a little bit of a reality of, what that means and how the challenges that one might face, from launching their own business. And Ben, maybe it's a good place for you to jump in. I mean, you kind of went through high school, college, and now you're like legitimately in it. And I'm sure there's a lot to do. You're trying to find clients. You're trying to do the work. I mean, I'd love to have you talk just a little bit about what that feels like.
Yeah, I'm laughing because like 2 weeks ago, it was tax season, and that was like the most terrifying week of my life as I found out exactly how much I owe as a self-employed individual. And so like I said before, it's really, really, really a roller coaster. Like you're riding high, you got, new business coming in, projects are going really well, you're making work you're really proud of. And then just a week later, or like even just like the next day, you get hit with the tax bill or something, or something happens, and it's just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? What's happening right now? But it all evens out in the long run. And I'd say, if entrepreneurship's for you, and if you really, you're passionate about what you do, um, there is never a doubt in your mind, at least in my case. I can't speak to many others. I can't. I do know that many others feel this, but actually there's never a doubt in your mind. Like even when I was in the worst of, the anxiety and the freaking out about it, and like, what am I doing? The answer when I asked like, what am I doing, was like, I'm pursuing my goals. This is my dream. Like, I am doing what I want to be doing. This is the hard part that comes with it. Anything that's worth doing is hard. And this is, this is what I chose, and I don't second guess my choice even once. So it really is ups and downs. And if anyone's out there pursuing it, I'd say find a support network, or even like, I'm doing this all myself, and like finding the time to do it is find the time to do everything I need to do. Marketing, finishing projects, finding new business, accounting, doing all that stuff is really difficult to find the time to do it all. And so I'm working fully myself, but I do say, like, I have a really strong support network of friends and my partner and various other people, one being Skylar Bagnan, who is the vice president of Entrepreneurship Club, and then led the ARC program when it was started. Him and I still meet weekly, and he's running a solar startup, and we meet weekly just to like talk it out and be like, where are we at? Let's like pretty much just be there for each other and have that support. So I'd say if anyone's interested in pursuing it, make sure you got someone to talk about it with and work through it with, because it's difficult, but when it's rewarding, it's rewarding and it's amazing. So
that's great. The support piece, because you can get isolated on it. It's not like you're going to work with 500 people every day, and that's really important. And then I love that when you ask yourself, is this what I'm going to do? I mean, the passion, and you know that you want to keep doing it. Not always the case when you're working for, one of your first jobs out of college. You're at a big company. You might not be able to answer it that way like you are. So that means, I think, a lot, actually. So to hear you say that, I appreciate that. That's helpful. A little bit over on time, but I loved if anybody has anything they want to leave us with. I mean, this has been really helpful, just sort of in the weeds, the reality of it, all the excitement of launching your own entrepreneurial venture, but then also the networking and the connections you make. And I think you gave our students a lot to think about. Anything else anybody wants to add as a parting comment?
Feel free to reach out. I'm on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is my first and last name. you'll be able to find me, and I'm sure all of us. But yeah, definitely like more than happy to help. I know I can speak for Ben and Lily as well. And if you have any questions, reach out, because we love helping high school students, because you guys are the future. I wish I was where you guys were in high school, because I didn't have a panel like this or anything like that. So definitely, if we are your first, oh, I think I like what they said, reach out and run with it. We're more than happy to help.
Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. I'm sure we'll have questions, and I know if students have them, I can pass them on to you, or I'd love to bring some groups up to UVM, just have them, we do some tours there, but it would be great to expand it beyond just the traditional admissions tour and have them visit maybe the Entrepreneur Club, and have them talk to any three of you. We really appreciate that. So thank you so much for participating today, and we'll continue the conversation and share any questions that students may have for all of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All three. We really, really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. We'll stay in touch.
Yes,
Thank you all. Good luck in your journeys. Choose UVM.
Yes, yeah, there you go. Thanks. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.